My name is Ali from the Myxxxx. Let's talk. Here I have my constituents, Carol A. Gordon and Pamela A. Robinson. We are here. We're going to be talking about how important it is to vote and amongst other things. So tomorrow is election. There has been tons and tons of lines all over the place because we are trying to change this president to Democrat because of the situation that we might be facing as far as our health bill, as far as the homeless situation, as far as so many other things that we have accomplished in our communities. So I am here with Pamela Robinson and Carol A. Gordon, and we're going to be discussing the voting. Okay, Ms. Carol.
Hi everybody, welcome. I just want to go over some things that is very important to vote. I have something here from my collection, Unspoken History Treasures, which I brought in. It's a poll tax receipt. A poll tax receipt was used to differentiate the blacks from voting. As you can see, this poll tax here, the date of it is 1929, and it was right after the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote. If you look at the poll tax closely, you could see that was a poll tax receipt issued to Mrs. R.L. Stockton of Decatur, Texas.
She was the first black woman or
No,
the first woman?
no, neither one.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The receipt, as you can see, it tells you it has colored, white, male, and female. The poll tax no longer exists as currently as 1964 when they ratified the 24th Amendment for the Constitution, which prohibits using the poll tax in all federal state elections. Now, when you got the poll tax receipt, the people would have to pay anywhere from $1.50 to $1.75, which today is like $25, $30. In addition of paying the poll tax, they had to take a literacy test. Sometimes the literacy test was made so you could not pass it if you had a 5th grade education. Right. And questions would be asked like, who's the 3rd president of the United States? Do you know who it is?
No, who is it?
I don't know either, so we all failed. I don't remember off the top of my head, you know what I mean?
But now we gotta go back to school.
Yeah, right? But even if you did pass some simple questions, they would make it so it would be the determination of who the white people given the test.
Correct.
Not only was African Americans denied the right to vote by taking poll tests, having the poll taxes on them to pay, poor white people. So they were also in with it also.
And
so,
other nationalities also, right?
Right. So they even had Harvard University students take one of the literacy tests from Louisiana, and they all failed it. So that goes to show you they made it very hard. So since we've come a long way with this poll tax receipt, I'm stressing it's very important to make sure you go out and vote.
Correct. As you all know, Carol A. Gordon is running for State Senate, 8th editorial. Is that correct?
8th senatorial district. Thank you very much.
District.
I'm doing a write-in
She's
campaign.
doing a write-in campaign, and we would hope that you guys go out and vote for Carol. On my left, I have Pamela Robinson. She's going to be doing a little bit talking about the voting also.
Hello, everybody. I believe that we should all come out and vote. Right now, Joe Biden needs for the Spanish people to come out and vote. So I'm asking you to come out and vote because you know what the president has did to you guys, and you should vote for the right person. And the right person should be Joe. So That's my belief. And I hope everybody comes out and vote because we do need to vote very strongly.
Okay. As we all know, a lot of people are talking about Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. Some people don't want either or, but they don't have a choice. They got to pick one. So the best one that I think would be Joe Biden, okay, because it's going to go back into the Democratic Party. There's going to be a lot of, hopefully, bills passed for certain things to be accomplished within the communities. As the census, that passed already. So now we're here trying to get you guys to understand whether you have a homeless, whether you are, on social service, whether you have felonies and your probation is over, everything is done, you guys still can go vote, okay? And we have up until tomorrow, and that is our last day as far as voting is concerned. And after that, we're either going to be stuck with Trump or we're going to be starting over with Biden, okay? And I think that we need to start over with Biden. Carol,
I just want to say, add to that, this year is a very important year. Every 10 years they do the redistricting of the areas, which brings money to certain areas. So if you get a certain party in there, they're going to cut the map so every time they run, they'll make sure they get in. So you have to make it so it would be for the people, not for the people that are in power.
That's correct. Okay, as a state senate, as far as some of the things that you would offer people, what would it be?
I'm for all, for Affordable Health Care Act.
Okay.
I'm also for affordable housing. I'm also for helping the millennials, helping even if they say student loans,
Right.
if you're not, some funding to help out, because the people that are still teaching the school have to get paid. The school have to keep the lights on, they have to get paid.
Right.
So it's a vicious circle. I mean, you can't get something for nothing, totally.
Right.
It has to be a half situation.
So with this COVID-19, as far as what's going on now with the schools halfway closing, because of the virus is still peaking in different areas, it's like, what do we do about that? Do you
But now, I would make sure that people make sure they have the needs of the same thing as the mask.
Okay.
If there's testing that needs to be in the area, make it readily available so people can go right to it.
Okay.
If there's different other things that needs the hospital, if you need to start making more hospitals in certain areas so that you wouldn't have to go so far and overcrowd and inundate and overwhelm the hospitals that are there, that needs to be looked in also.
Yeah. But in the testing, do you think the children needs to be tested also due to the fact that they are going to school?
If they're in the school,
They're going back, well, you have remote learning, and then you have kids that are actually going to the school to learn. Even though they sit social distance and they wear their mask, but they still have to be in the building amongst the adults, and some of them are susceptible to the virus. So I'm trying to figure out,
if they should be tested.
should they be tested?
I think it would depend on the school, the district, the parents. Everybody has to get involved. It's not just one person dictating that your child must be tested.
Right.
It's like now, half people let their kids go to school and half
Right.
people let their kids stay
Stay
home.
home, right,
So it's
remote
their
learning.
choice. It's everybody working together.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I
Pam?
believe that they all should get tested. Everybody, the workers, everything should be tested because
Yeah.
the simple fact we have to protect our kids.
Yeah. I think the reason why the kids are not being tested is because of the fact that the way it's done, you have this long Q-tip and it's
goes
trying
up
to
the
stick it up a child's nose. It might lead to bleeding, or the kid is not standing still enough, and it's very painful.
Right, and they jerk
So,
their head back or something.
It should be some type of other methods that has to be brought to the table so the kids can go back to school safely with the social distancing and the mask, but at least they'll be tested. As far as putting your forehead to the temperature to get temperature checked, that's all good and fine, but there's something more about this virus that we don't know about, and we need to find out.
Well, I know at Compare Foods, this was like about a month ago. What they had was, and I think the kids should have it too, they were sticking people in the finger instead of sticking you in the nose and checking the blood.
Wow. Okay.
That should
That
be
makes
a
sense.
good way
Okay.
for the kids to be tested and they can find out.
Okay, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. So we're gonna move on. Like last week, we talked about abuse. Carol, I don't think you was involved with our panel.
No.
So, and then I think you wanted to say something about that,
About abuse?
about abuse, yes.
I think the person, usually people that are abused don't say much. I was the chairperson of the Women's Committee at the VA Hospital in Northport. And I remember a young lady would come in with her buttons all unbuttoned different ways. Sometimes she would have a bruise on her face, she would have heavy makeup on. And I'd ask what's the matter, she would never say. I invited one of the organization's Vibes Victims of Abused Women in.
Okay.
And she came and she ended up talking to the people afterwards. Come to find out she was abused wife. But she didn't say anything to anybody. You can only presume what was going on.
That's correct.
So since she didn't confide in me as the women's coordinator of the program,
Okay.
someone else of another organization she was able to identify with her. I believed I was too close to her, you know what I mean,
Right,
working with
exactly.
her and stuff like that. She didn't want anybody to know her business.
You know, years ago, there was families that were actually abused, and you know, you didn't even know it. You know, my aunt used to come to my house and my mom's, and they would sit down, and she would be the only one that'd be wearing shades, and we would think that the shades was just a fashion, not realizing that the shades was a cover up, you know, of a black eye that was done by her spouse. So, in that retrospect, right now we have people that are still going through the same thing, but you don't have to go through it because there's organizations and there's things that has been created so you guys don't have to go through it. And it's not only women, it's children, it's men, you know. So we have organizations, we have laws, bylaws, and you know, order protections and all type of stuff that we can deal with. So therefore, you guys need to really, you know, reach out, you know. It's not only physical abuse, it could be verbal abuse, it could be mental abuse. Abuse is abuse, and you guys need to reach out and gravitate to the things that are offered to you. What do you think about that, Pam?
Yes, but my thing is you got so many people that's out there that are being abused, but the problem is their spouse or whatever, they tell them certain things like, no one wants you, no one cares or whatever, so they
Mental.
break them down.
Yeah, mental
So
abuse.
therefore,
Right, mental
they
abuse.
break them down after they beat them up, or if they hit them, they be like, oh baby, I'm not gonna do that again or whatever. So the next time come, you don't know if they're gonna kill you or whatever. So that person is not gonna say anything. They're in love until they get tired of getting abused and beat up. That's when they're going to go for help. Or he might go after the kid. And the wife says to herself or the girlfriend, you know what, I can't put my kid through this anymore.
That's
So
correct.
when he goes to work or whatever, you run away
They
and
get up
take
and
your
leave.
kid.
That's
Sometimes that
correct.
happens. I had a friend and she had her kids. Her husband used to always beat her, but he put a gate around the whole house and he put a padlock on the lock. They weren't
Wow.
allowed to come out or anything. So one day when he got to work, so what she would do, she would hide money inside the board of the floor. So one day he left for work. She had dug a hole way in the back of the gate that he didn't know. And her and the kids, she got a little sack, a laundry sack, put some clothes in it, and they went up under the gate and came to New York.
Right.
So
There's so many different type of, even with the children, like we find that the children are also being abused by the female spouse that are not their father biologically. And sometimes they don't even see it, and sometimes they might see it and don't say nothing. They just think that it's normal that the child is not, it's just quiet, she's not being active like she used to be. And sometimes, you know, you might not even be paying attention, but you have to pay attention to your children also. Because a lot of guys, they come home from prison, or you might bump into them, you might like them, you have your little night out, then it becomes a thing of, you know, dealing with this person and not even paying attention to his character. So the character is what's important as far as to know what abuse is about. So if you are going through abuse, and if you see something, if you're going through it, say something. Don't be scared as a kid, as an adult. You have friends, family, you have anybody that you can talk to. What do you think about that, Carol?
I think also it boils back down to education. They're doing education now in the schools for bullying prevention, sexual harassment, education on whether they do it in health classes or whatever it is, to educate. Kids have to be educated. Parents have to, that generation is already not gone,
Right.
but we got to start in the new generation to educate them and let them know exactly what is abuse, what will you take, what is bullying, what is sexual harassment. So that starts, it has to start now at the lower level.
And so many times we have leaders as far as counselors, you got your coaches, you got teachers, you got so many leaders that are actually pedophiles. And you know, without knowing them, you might think that they are like, oh, they're friendly. Oh, that's my daughter. I trust him. But you gotta check people's background, because so many times you find somebody that's a pedophile, they're the nicest person in the world. But then behind your back, they're a monster. So know who your child is. Make sure your child talk to you at all given times. Make sure your child is not afraid to say anything, regardless if they say, okay, well, we're going to kill your parents, or we're going to do this, or we're going to do that. Make sure your child is educated enough to talk to you. Okay? We're going to take a small break, and we're going to bring back Atia Murray in her interview.
The Africa Vision Card, a reloadable debit card that controls up to 5 different currencies in one account. Our belief in the promise of the new Africa inspired our innovation to launch Africa's first free smart card. Our customers can now make 24 hours global cash withdrawals and transact businesses with ease. With pride in our 24 hours live customer service, headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia, corporate branch in Lagos, Nigeria, and unique reward programs, we are well positioned to pioneer Africa to the world of artificial intelligence and walk you through to the new Africa. Africa Vision's Card, the king of cards.
Hello everyone, my name is Atia and you're here on the Myxxxx. Now, I just want to, before I introduce our special guest that we have here with us today, I just wanted to touch on some things that were just said by the panel that was on before me. One, with pedophilia, oftentimes a pedophile might play with children in front of the adult to make it okay for when they're not in front of the adult to do activities that may not be something that the child would want, but it's already reinforced that this is how I play in front of the parent. So like the panel said before me, it is very important to watch your children and to generally keep people away from your children, right? We may not want to try to judge and see who's doing what. Children are a very sensitive issue, and we should just try to be good stewards for them. Yes. We also mentioned voting. We're here with Carol, and we're wishing her all the best of luck and hope that she wins so that she can represent our community the way we need to be represented. Another theme that's been going on is our domestic violence, and I just want to provide a national domestic violence hotline number. It's 1-800-799-7233, and they will show you on this website or on that number how to identify abuse and plans for safety. Do you have anything to add to any of these topics before we get into you and before I introduce you?
In terms of the domestic abuse or the child abuse, it always needs to be reported if you see something that doesn't look right, as well as the fact that you got to know where your children are going. Like, you can't just let them go to someone else's house. You need to know that parent as well as the parent should know you. Right. So they have that. Even now I have young adults, 20-something years old, and I talk to my son, like, you can't just bring people home. I don't know who these people are. We need to have some rapport. So this way there's no you want to keep sort of a boundary, but you
Yes.
don't want to allow too much freedom in the
Right.
sense that with children, they can just go talk to anyone.
It's
They
true.
have to know and have like a feeling. If they feel uneasy, then they don't need to be around that adult.
Right. Thank you, and I guess it's about time that I introduced you. That was kind of rude. I didn't know we were going to talk so much. Michelin Cooley.
Coley, yes.
Coley.
Yes.
And can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Hi, my name is Micheline Coley. I work with the Long Island Coalition for the Homeless. We are based out of Amityville, New York. The organization has been around for multiple years. We are based on helping the community avoid homelessness as well as trying to aid people who are homeless.
That's important.
So at this time, we have a community resource center that used to be the old Army Reserve base out on Albany Avenue in Amityville. And we have multiple agencies. My particular agency is a nonprofit HUD organization. We're sponsored to help other agencies with their funding and providing resources for people who might become homeless or already homeless. We do different types of events and community activities.
And you said prevention?
Yes.
You could prevent, so if someone sees themselves going in that direction?
So we try to aid with the other agencies to monitor people, because there are people in shelters at this time as well as out on the street. And if a person sees someone, we have a hotline. Our main number is 631-464-4314. Our hotline number is 118, which is specifically for people that you see that might be, like, say, behind a store
Okay.
or up in the woods in a park that you think might be homeless. You can call and we'll get people to go out and look and verify what's going on and see how we can help them. But if someone comes in off the street, we have to refer based on how the state runs. Everything goes through the Department of Social Services.
Okay.
So they have hotlines, whether it be after hours or during the day. If you're in Nassau, then you go to Nassau DSS.
Right.
If you're in Suffolk, you go to Suffolk DSS.
Okay.
In terms of that, we do help people. We have caseworkers that help people who are in shelters. At this time, we were running a boutique, but due to COVID, we had to slow that down. So we did
Yeah.
get funding. Now we're starting to hand out food, but it's
Okay.
all referral based. The person has to get referred through another agency or church or
So
some
they
type
have to
of
find someone,
organization.
they have
Yes.
to reach out, and that organization reaches out to you?
Yes.
Okay.
And we have information about the referrals on our website, and they can get them faxed over, and we can get them in so that they can get the assistance that they need.
And that website is addressthehomeless.org.
Yes,
Or addressthehomeless.org.
yes. So my role at the agency is I'm the office manager and the bookkeeper, but I do go out with the community events. We have 3 main events that we normally have. In the past, we would have had it this year as of St. Patrick's Day, our
COVID.
candlelight vigil, which we do at SUNY Farmingdale.
Okay.
And that we have people come in, agencies will represent, they can come get haircuts, they can connect with the different agencies, they have things for the children. But we actually would give out brand new items, whether it's food items, clothing items, linens, things like that, books. That's a once a year event. They come in August. We usually have another event called Backpack Pirates.
I
where
like
we
this
work
one.
with the shelter kids.
Yeah.
Usually we have an average of 400 shelter kids that are bussed in from different agencies, and they have a day of camp
How
at
about
East.
that?
And with that, we give them backpack supplies, school supplies, whatever surplus of supplies, because we run school drives at that point. We will have the different agencies who are under us and have memberships come, and they get to pick up the supplies that they can give out to their
I like that one.
people.
It's a whole day, and
Yes.
it's an experience, and
Yes.
camping is always, going to
Yes.
camp is always something good,
Right.
that especially not everyone gets to take advantage of.
Right.
And then they get to remember that day with things that they get to use
Right,
for the rest
and
of the
usually
year.
we do an average of kindergarten, first grade,
Okay.
up to, we were doing the older teenagers, but sometimes they just don't have the patience. So I think we cut
They don't
off
have the
now.
patience.
No, they don't have the patience. We have to have the patience, but they don't have the patience. Sometimes I guess they feel like the activities are not in their category, or they just don't, they rather just be on their cell phone or talk to their friends.
Okay.
So that experience. So I think we cut it down now to about 13, 14 is
Okay.
the cutoff for
Yeah.
those students. And then we also have what's coming up in November on the 18th, our Keys Conference. This is actually our first year virtual.
November
due to-
18th?
Yes.
Okay.
And the Keys Conference works with the other agencies, people who are licensed social workers and so forth. They come in, they get workshops, activities. They usually have the main guest speaker, different topics.
Nice.
And, we volunteer, but we also work that day in helping everybody get the information they need, the resources.
Okay.
And that is also a HUD-sponsored event that we have going on.
HUD sponsored. What do you mean?
So
when you say
HUD
that?
is the Housing
Mhm.
Urban Development.
Mhm.
So we are funded grant-wise through HUD,
Really?
yes.
Okay.
And that helps us run what we call continuum of care, where we monitor and supervise other agencies to help them with the resources and the funding they need to get their stuff.
Okay.
um,
It's feeling
going.
to me that these people are in good hands. I don't know, I'm feeling like you take care of everyone, you make sure that monies go where they're supposed to go, supplies go where they're supposed to go. I'm feeling your heart in that. Is that true?
Yes.
Am I reading that right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
I prefer rather than just working the numbers and hitting the
Yes.
accounting side. I like dealing with the
So you
people
have the
on top
money
of
and the
them.
heart side.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
That's wonderful.
Yes, so, we like to make sure that we can give out the information. We always tell people to go to our website for
Yes.
updates.
And that was addressthehomeless.org.
We just finished doing the census. We had
Yes.
workers out there working with the census. Now they have, I believe we will probably be hiring for COVID tracking and
Right.
some other, that we're always getting different grants.
Okay.
So
So you
again,
said that
look
your
on the website because they will have, some of them will be temporary jobs up to like maybe 9 months.
Well, it's seasonal
depending on-
time, so that's good.
Right, the position, and then some may turn into part-time or full-time positions.
Okay.
Usually, a lot of times, we also get interns, and our interns do work, and we'll tend to hire from
Well,
our
that's a good
interns as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's through like social workers and so forth.
Mhm.
We'll get them to come in and help with different counting and so forth. We do an annual, what they call the pit count, annual street outreach goes out in January. Usually I think it's the third week of January. And they actually go out with the other agencies and actually try to find the homeless and get a count. And that's
Really?
based on giving the information back to the government. And we have statistics and so forth also on our website.
Okay, so this is a good place to start if you're wanting to help the community
Yes.
directly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm seeing in it. It's not this, it's your people in your area.
Right.
Okay.
So, as our address is 600 Albany Avenue in
Okay.
Amityville, we
Okay.
have at least 10 to 12 different agencies from Family Service League, Urban League, working with people 55 and older. Concern works with some of the housing. So we have veteran housing
I was
behind
gonna
our
ask about the
building.
veteran. I have a sister, shout out to Ashante, who's a veteran,
Mhm.
and she's always concerned about the veterans,
Right,
so you do take care of them as well.
when we actually took over the Army base, we had to put in a grant for that. They built housing because the veteran, Long Island homeless veterans was
Yes.
a main concern. So they did put a structure up,
Which sounds like an oxymoron that there's gonna be homeless veterans, people who have
Yeah.
fought for our country.
yeah, unfortunately,
Yeah.
but it's true.
It's true.
So services for the underserved is another agency that works with the veterans. So
Services
sometimes-
for the underserved?
Yes, it's called SUS. They
Okay.
are based out of New York City, but they have a Long Island office in our building.
Okay.
If veterans come in from off the street, they
Mhm.
would deal with them and they would work with them to try to get them housed or whatever the needs are, getting them
Right.
the information that they need. So, we try to be as much community resource
That sounds good.
open to people and the public.
Okay. And for anyone who's concerned about the community and wants to help, how can they do that?
In terms of, they can go online. If they wanted to make an actual donation, right now we're taking food, we'll take coats. We're not taking anything used. We were at one
Right.
point, but at this point with COVID, we can't do that. We'll take monetary donations. If people have employees that do employee match, they could possibly look to see if they wanted to come in and volunteer. We were taking some volunteers based on what we need,
Okay.
that they would employee match the hours or monetary wise. So there's different ways that people can
That people
come
can
out and
volunteer.
help. I also wanted to remind people, because I'm actually working the polls tomorrow, I'm a poll coordinator for Nassau County, to
Okay.
please come out and vote.
Please come out and vote.
Very, very important that you exercise your right. I've been doing this for over 12 years now, and I see the gamut of people coming to the polls. I actually did 3 days at early election this past week.
And what did you see?
In terms of, the people were polite. They waited. We have people wait up to 3 hours
Oh my
and
goodness.
45 minutes. Literally, we work from 5:15 in the morning to closing at night at
Okay.
9 o'clock. But
Okay.
if the doors close at 9 and you're inside, no matter how long it will be,
Right.
so I'm expecting I'm not going to get out before 10 o'clock tomorrow.
Right. Pam is also working the polls today, so we have some people. We have people running for office. We have people in the polls, and we've definitely been promoting to vote. So
Yes.
that's good.
Yes. So, yes, so again, you can look to see if anybody has any information that they want to find out from us. They can always call our number, 631-645, I'm sorry, excuse me, 631-464-4314. If someone is out on the street, we have an extension 118 for the street outreach, as well as, and also addressthehomeless.org is a lot of information on there. We do take memberships if people want to get involved, volunteers, and things
Okay.
like that.
All right. So we have Michelin Cooley, right? Is that right this time? Good. Here from the Long Island Coalition of the Homeless. Her website is addressthehomeless.org. Go there for career opportunities, internships, to volunteer and to generally see some of the services that you can participate
Yes.
in and to help the people who need help. They're taking donations of new things due to COVID. Not that we don't appreciate things, but
Right.
due to COVID, we have to just get new products that we can share. We do veteran services.
Yes,
can help
we can refer out for the veteran services. We have Family Service League is another organization. Urban League will take 55 and older, people
Okay,
who are retired
okay.
or looking for part-time. So there's a lot of opportunity in our center. Let's put
Okay.
it that way.
All right. So please go onto the website to see all the resources that we have. And at this time, we're going to go to Robin's house. Thank you for
All right,
joining
thank
us.
you.
Thank you.
The Africa Vision Card, a reloadable debit card that controls up to 5 different currencies in one account. Our belief in the promise of a new Africa inspired our innovation to launch Africa's first free smart card. Our customers can now make 24 hours global cash withdrawals and transact businesses with ease. With pride in our 24 hours live customer service, headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia, corporate branch in Lagos, Nigeria, and unique reward programs, we are well positioned to pioneer Africa to the world of artificial intelligence and walk you through to the new Africa. Africa Vision's Card, the king of cards.
Hello everyone, welcome to Robin's house here at the Mix. I'm Robin Watson with my co-host Miss Mika J. Woods, and we're here to kiki and dish a little dirt like we normally do every week. So, what do we have this week, Miss Mika?
Yes,
What we
yes. So this week is all about protecting Black women, right? So we're gonna start off with what's going on out in Kansas City.
Okay.
Did y'all hear about this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful black princess named, I don't want to mispronounce her name, I think it's Kezia Gabriel. She got up there to the Board of Police Commissions in Kansas City and read them for film.
Yes, it was great.
Okay, she came in hard. She came in, got on the mic and said, look, I'm not nice and I didn't come here to be respectable. And then she went in. She was calling for officers to be taken off the force. Wow. She was like, it don't matter if you eat ice cream and buying sandwiches for the little kids in the neighborhood. If you're not here to protect us, we don't need you. She said, I don't want you to be my oppressor and my hero. Right. I was like, oh, girl.
She went in.
She went in. I was like, all right, princess. Mm-hmm. But sadly, now they are following her.
Wow.
The cops have been following her. They've been spotted in her apartment complex, circling. And
wow.
Yeah, so it's created a very dangerous situation for her.
Sure. They're just like waiting for anything to happen to pick her up, you know?
Exactly. So it's kind of scary. It's like, you know, we really have to protect our black women because if she spoke out and now look what happens.
Yeah, just because she spoke out, you know? I mean, Fifth Amendment, right?
Yes.
Freedom of speech.
We have the freedom of speech.
Exactly.
But you know, it's sad. It's sad, but as black people, we really have to protect our black woman because we don't want her to become just another hashtag.
Right. Another statistic.
Right?
Exactly.
So, on the whole protecting our black woman gambit, right? So, there was a young woman. You know what Airbnb is, right?
Yeah, sure.
Airbnb, everybody knows what an Airbnb is. Airbnb is when you rent out someone's apartment, maybe for a weekend, a week, or a house, you know, because you want a vacation, but you might want a kitchen or something like that. So this young woman rents out an Airbnb, and she was ready to relax until she turned and saw that there was a hidden camera disguised as a charger port.
Can you imagine? Wow.
How scary is that?
Wow.
You paid your money for your privacy, you get comfortable, and then turn around, and little big brother is sitting there like...
In a charger at that.
Mm-hmm. And then they're not even pressing charges against the person who did it.
Serious?
Yes, yes.
That's an invasion of privacy, I would think.
Airbnb has a policy that says that they are not allowed to leave recording equipment around the apartments or houses. Yet this was done and nothing is being done by Airbnb.
Wow, that's crazy.
They still have this
violation of rights somewhere along the line. It has to be.
You know, I hope their sales go down because of this, because that's very dangerous.
So do I. You know, more people need to be aware of that. You know. Exactly.
And I was all ready to rent out the Fresh Prince mansion. You know, I was ready to rent out the Fresh. They had two good spots: the Fresh Prince mansion and the Barbie mansion. I was ready to be up in Barbie Dream House, but y'all got hidden cameras. I'm not with that. I'm not with that.
Neither am I.
Because I'm walking around the Airbnb looking ignorant in a bonnet and nothing else. So it's sad. It's sad. But sometimes, you know, protecting our black women isn't always against protecting them against black men or others. Sometimes
society itself.
Sometimes it's society, sometimes it's in our own families.
Yeah, that too.
That leads me into our girl, Tamar Braxton. Wow. I love her dearly. I am a Tamartian.
She's going through some things right now.
Yeah. Allegedly, she tried to commit suicide a few months ago.
Wow.
And this was after she was taken off of their show, Braxton Family Values. And now that the show is airing again, she feels as if her family is using her suicide attempt to boost the ratings. Yeah.
That's not a good look.
I watched the trailer. They mentioned it. They ain't like...
Yeah, they mentioned it. And I would think, you know, they would keep that amongst themselves if she really felt that strongly about it, you know. I don't think that's something that she would want aired out, but apparently it is because we know about it. You know?
You know, it's been out there. She's had some issues, you know, domestic violence issues, where she was the one, and then before he was the one. You know, She's been in the news lately.
Yeah.
She's been out there, you know. Publicity
Yeah.
is not her strong suit.
Yeah, negative or positive.
Negative or
whatever.
positive, you know. I got love for her.
I do too. I do too.
She's good
I
TV.
love her music. You know.
She's good TV.
Yeah, she is.
She is good. She is entertaining. Even that
she
show
is very entertaining.
where they got the hairdressers and they be running up on the hairdressers I tell
That
you,
was good,
you
yeah.
mess up my hair, I'm not leaving your salon. Ain't gonna be no reality TV show. Ain't gonna be no cameras. I'm calling the goons because you're not gonna have me walking around for however many weeks it takes for my hair to come back,
I'm getting
baby.
it done right then and there.
Yeah, we're gonna have to settle
We're
this.
doing a do-over.
We gonna settle this today, or you gonna give me a wig, something.
Exactly.
But you know, Tamar, I wish the absolute best
So
for
do
Tamar.
I. So do I.
I wish the best for her, and I hope that her and her family eventually come together and, you know.
I'm sure they will. I mean, they seem like they're a very close-knit family. And
Yeah.
like, we all go through changes in our family, so
Yeah.
hopefully they'll all come together. You know, I really believe
It's hard
it.
being close to your family sometimes.
It is.
When they know too much, they start talking too much.
Yeah, exactly. Until
Like-
you shut them down. You
Yeah,
know
you
what
gotta
I
be
mean?
like, yo, sister, I
Exactly.
told you about what happened that Thursday night. You wasn't supposed to tell grandma and whoever else. Like,
you know they do.
that was between me and you, sis. But, you know, sometimes families talk too much, too friendly. But, you know, let's keep going with the whole protecting black women. So recently, black women have been coming out stating things that have been denied. Like Keke Palmer, when she said that, allegedly said that Trey Songz, he came at her a little aggressively, and no one believed her until her fairer skinned counterpart said the exact same thing.
Wow.
And then people went back to Keke and was like, dang, so that really
Now I
happened?
believe you. Right.
Like,
exactly.
but this has been a trend most recently with Gabrielle Union. She stated that she found out that one of her fair-skinned counterparts were getting paid almost 3 times as much as she was getting paid
Wow,
for the
that's
exact
crazy.
same part.
That's ridiculous.
That is
You know?
horrible.
That doesn't make any kind of sense.
And at
you
first,
know?
no one believed her.
It's like discrimination. That's a form. And you would think an actress like such as herself, you know, she's had a lot of great roles that, you know, she's making money. You know,
Bring it on.
exactly.
Bring it on. What? That was
You
my
know?
generation.
Yeah, back in the days, exactly. You know,
I'm sorry. I got hyped for that for a minute. I was a cheerleader.
okay.
That was
No,
my
it's okay.
movie. Okay.
You know? Cause she tore it up like in Bad Boys too, you know.
She did.
That was my girl, you know. She made
did.
me want to be a cop or something. You know?
Being Mary Jane, she had me out here believing I could have it all.
I'm trying to tell you, I love that show.
What?
Being
I
Mary
could have it
Jane,
all. I just
please.
gotta freeze some sperm or something.
Wow.
But yeah, you know, she was. But you know, other people are backing her. Like Amber Riley,
Yeah.
she said that she found the same thing, and they're taking a stand
Well,
against
that's
it.
great. Good.
You know,
Good.
it's the same thing that happened with Monique.
Yeah, exactly. They blacklisted her a long time ago.
Blacklisted her for standing up for
Yeah,
herself and
exactly.
saying
for the
that
same reason.
I'm not gonna take this anymore.
Mhm.
You're gonna pay this Caucasian woman 10
I'm
times as
paid
much as you'll
equally.
pay me, but I have 10 times more credits.
Exactly. You
It's
know?
just, it's not right.
no,
you know.
it's not.
We have to get into protecting our black women, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not even just black women, women in general. We have to protect each other. And men, you guys have to help protect us too.
Exactly.
It is not just on us.
Exactly.
All right? And that means women all across the board, whether you were born that way or whether you chose to be that way.
That's right.
All right?
Whatever it is.
However it is, we all need to be protected. Right?
Well, tell me now, Mika, on that note, I'm sure you got some entertainment for me, right?
Oh, I have a little something,
Sure.
something.
A nice, powerful
Good
poem for
little
us.
piece,
Yeah.
right? So this one I like to call, What If God Were a Woman?
Whoa, that sounds hot.
All right? I'm going to take my face mask down. Do you mind?
No, go.
All right, because
Good.
I can't do my
Bring it-
poetry. and
bring it to us.
Feel it.
Yeah.
All right. I don't want it to look like a beard, so I'm gonna hang it. What if God were a woman? Does that mean that the Virgin Mary is gay? Is that why Jesus was created of pure love and no hate? A man-child created of no man sent here to save our fate? How funny. What if God were a woman? would she get the respect that she deserves? Or is that why it's only statues of archangels that we observe? What if God were a woman? Then that means your period is merely a lesson, a small peek into the miracle of childbirth, because motherhood will have you stressing, but you will love the mess that you're in. It'll induce your endurance to create this wonderful lesson. I mean, what if God were a woman? Then the phrase, it's a man's world, is not pursuant, because let's be honest, if you really think about it, isn't it easier to believe that this all-natural being that's loving and caring and strict but fair and always right and always seems to be there? I don't know about you, but to me that seems like the characteristics of a female. Because if you see God as a woman, then there's no question why men are constantly doubting her. They are taking attention away from her by erecting these penis-shaped towers, making us believe that her son is greater than she when she created him. But maybe these theories are all on me. Maybe they're just dancing in my head. Because, you see, if God is a woman, then some things just make sense. And now, as I reach the end of my thought process, I hope you understand what I meant. And if you think maybe it's true, if God was a woman, then what does that mean to you? I'm Myxxxx J. Woods.
Hey. And this is Robin's house here at the Myxxxx, 1844 THEMYXX, the Myxxxx.